Another day and another Democratic loss. We were told that in Georgia's 6th district, we had a good chance of winning. There's good reason for that. Jon Ossoff, first of all, had come in first place in the first round of the election. That's where they had over a dozen candidates running. Now, the Republicans split the vote in a lot of ways. The top Republican vote getter was Karen Handel. She only got 20%. Jon Ossoff got 48%. Karen Handel has lost several important elections, including a governor's race and a Senate race. So good reason to believe she's not that great a candidate. And it was a tight race between Trump and Hillary Clinton in 2016. And over $25 million went to Jon Ossoff to win this election, and a ton of press attention. And let's find out what happened. I think kind of see where this is going. Yes, Karen Handel did win. 51.9% for Karen Handel to 48.1% Jon Ossoff. Exactly where he left off in that first part of the election, where he got about 48%. He got that same 48%, and all the Republicans and everyone else coalesced behind Handel, and she handled it, and she won. Now, I'm pretty irate about that. I'll tell you why in a second, but let me give you a little bit of context first. Kansas, there was another special election earlier in the year, and there the Democrat did much better than expected, and he came within almost about 7 points of winning there. Ron Estes did wind up beating James Thompson in that Kansas special election, but like in Georgia, that's a better result than has been in the past. These are deeply red districts. In the case of Georgia, kind of. I'll come back to that in a second. Montana, there was a special election where Rob Quist lost by about 6 points to his Republican challenger, who apparently is moonlighting at the WWE. I don't know why he's not in prison right now for body slamming a reporter, but anyway, he was charged with that. But Quist and the Democratic Party found a way to lose to him anyway. Now, fair to Quist, that body slam was a little bit later in the campaign, and Quist at least did run on one good issue and did score some points there. And I think he actually could have won if he ran more aggressively. But there was also a second election yesterday, and that was in South Carolina. And there, it was expected to be an absolute blowout, and it wasn't. So Ralph Norman did win narrowly over Archie Parnell, who was a Democrat in that race. So if you're looking at a South Carolina race where it's supposed to be a blowout and it's only about a 3-point win, okay, I get it. If you look at all these, they were all supposed to be blowouts and all much, much closer than anticipated. I get it. But if you're doing the math at home, that's still 4 races, 4 losses. Now, of course, Democrats, when they see 4 losses, get excited. Hence this quote in the New York Times: even as Mr. Ossoff lost, the Democrats' spirits were somewhat lifted by the unexpectedly strong showing of their nominee in another special House election Tuesday in South Carolina. Now, when you lose 4 elections in a row, having your spirits lifted is not the correct reaction. The correct reaction is, damn it, we again did something wrong. We're not winning here, literally. So why is Georgia a little bit different than the other deeply red districts? Now, yes, granted, the Tom Price had won that seat by 23 points in just the 2016 elections, and that's Newt Gingrich's old district, et cetera. But look at in 2016 how close Trump and Clinton were in that same district. So Trump had 48.3, Hillary Clinton had 46.8. Actually, Hillary Clinton in that district was closer to Trump than Ossoff was to Handel. So the Democrats, after all that and all the money that was spent, and of course the Republicans outspent him anyway, it wound up being the most expensive House race in American history. They lost. They lost ground. Jon Ossoff lost ground to Hillary Clinton in Georgia. Okay, congratulations, Democrats. Job well done. Okay, now I'm going to explain why I think he lost and what he did wrong in the election, and what the Democratic Party is doing wrong and what they should do instead. So let's continue with the New York Times to give us context. Ossoff appeared so close to victory that Democrats were allowing themselves to imagine a win that would spur a wave of Republican retirements, a recruitment bonanza, and a Democratic fundraising windfall heading into the 2018 midterm elections. So they get all dreamy-eyed. They're like, oh yeah, man, when Ossoff wins, Republicans are just gonna give up. there's going to be a wave of retirements. Really? I mean, that's your experience with the Republican Party? They just give up? No, you guys are the ones who give up. They're the ones who attack viciously and over again. They're the ones who are relentless. And you thought that this victory would be so stunning in favor of Democrats that the Republicans would begin to surrender. Gee, I wonder why the Democratic Party they never ever get it. They're filled to the rim with hubris. Okay, conservative groups poured $12 million into the runoff, nearly all of it assailing Mr. Ossoff. So when the Republicans come in, you know what they do? They come in with a stick and they viciously attacked Ossoff. What do the Democrats do? Kids gloves. So I'm going to show you kids gloves in a second. First, let's show you the stick that the Republicans brought. The apparent success of relentless Republican attacks linking Ossoff to the House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi and her, quote, San Francisco values also affirmed the efficacy of tying Democratic candidates in conservative districts to their brethren in more liberal parts of the country. Now, that is, of course, what the New York Times assessment of that is, okay? So yes, I think tying him to Nancy Pelosi is effective. That's among the many reasons why he should have run as a Justice Democrat. If he had done that, he'd run a strong campaign, I believe he would have won. Now, of course, you can't prove that, I understand that, but I believe there's good. First of all, we know what doesn't work, which is running as a so-called centrist Democrat. How many times do you have to try that before you realize it doesn't work, okay? And I think that people are upset at Nancy Pelosi, and they are, especially in conservative areas, not just because she's a liberal. They view her as a big government person and one who is in this corrupt system and has been in the corrupt system for a long, long time. Well, that's true. So Just Democrats are not backing Nancy Pelosi. So you can't say, oh, hey, these Just Democratic candidates running against Republicans in red states, they're with Nancy Pelosi, because they're not with Nancy Pelosi. So there goes your talking point on that. And it's not to run away from progressive ideals, the exact opposite. They're gonna run stronger towards progressive ideals. But if you say, hey, why don't you stand by the incredibly ancient Democratic establishment politicians that people associate with big government corruption, our answer is no. That's what we're against, we're not for that. So then if you run as a real person, not tied to that corruption, then perhaps you have a little bit of chance of winning. Now, and I don't mean that Nancy Pelosi is any more personally corrupt than anybody else in Congress. I mean, they are systemically corrupted, and Nancy Pelosi, having been there for approximately 280 years, is a decent example of that. Sorry, but that is what a lot of Americans believe. Now, these guys always say, oh, be realistic now, Cenk, it's Georgia. So that's why you gotta make sure that you're for cutting taxes on the rich. But when you say, hey, be realistic, your Democratic establishment is viewed as corrupt because they've taken billions of dollars from donors. Look, hey, watch it, that's not fair. Of course it's fair. So you wanna talk about not fair, let's look at how the Republicans ran their races, okay? So they tied him to Nancy Pelosi. They spent almost all their ads attacking Ossoff, and then they run vicious over-the-top ads like this.
Now the unhinged left is endorsing and applauding shooting Republicans. When will it stop? It won't if Jon Ossoff wins on Tuesday, because the same unhinged leftists cheering last week's shooting are all backing Jon Ossoff. And if he wins, they win. Stop them. Stop them now. Stop Jon Ossoff. Stop Nancy Pelosi. Vote Karen Handel for Congress. Vote Principled Leadership Project PAC paid for this ad and is solely responsible for its content.
Now, progressives and Democrats complain about that ad, and you are right to. That is outrageous, right? But guess what it does? Unfortunately, it works. Republicans run vicious campaigns, smearing the other side, attacking aggressively, and they win. And what did the Democrats learn from that? Cry more, go more towards Republicans. No, why don't you run vicious, not unfair, but yes, deserved vicious attacks against them? Why don't you tie Karen Handel to all the most extreme Republicans? Oh, I don't know, that would be against the Queensberry rules, really. Do they look like they're playing by the Queensberry rules? Okay, whatever Donald Trump has said, oh no, but Trump is popular. He's not popular in that district. He barely carried that district, right? Whatever David Duke said, oh, don't you declare, that would be quite unfair. Do you think they're playing fair? How many times are you going to lose before what you understand what politics is about? It isn't about beer summits. It isn't about running towards Republicans. It's about beating the other side. And then they tell us, oh no, Cenk, the Justice Democrats, for example, the strong wing of the Democratic Party would lose to the Republicans. That you don't know how to win. Wait a minute, when is the last time you won? When is the last time you won? You don't know anything about winning. So again, let us review the Democratic failure and track record of failure. They lost to Donald Trump. First of all, end of conversation. Why is anybody in the country listening to the establishment Democrats? You guys lost to Donald Trump. He was the least popular person to ever run for president, and you lost to him anyway. Why are we having this conversation? But then on top of that, you lost the House, you lost the Senate, you lost the Supreme Court. You lost 69 out of 99 state legislatures. In about the last decade, you lost over 1,000 seats at the state level. Now, who knows about winning and losing? But you told me Ossoff was gonna win. You took a lot of big donors, but you also took a lot of small donors, and all those people believed in you, and they sent in money to Ossoff to run that stupid, soft, centrist campaign that he ran. And how'd that turn out for you? Yet another loss. Who would have guessed? So now let's go to namby-pamby campaign that Ossoff ran. So in his concession speech, you're gonna begin to get a flavor for it here.
You picked this campaign up, and you picked me up, and you picked Alicia up, and you carried us on your shoulders. And we showed the world that in places where no one thought it was even possible to fight, we could fight. We showed them what courage and kindness and humility are capable of. We showed them that we can still build coalitions of people who may not see eye to eye on everything, but rather than demonizing each other, we find common ground to move forward. And that's the only way this country will move forward. So this is not the outcome any of us were hoping for. But this is the beginning of something much bigger than us.
Look, if you're a Democrat who's been watching Democrats for the last 40 years, you might like parts of that. I hated every word in that. And let me explain why. I want to be very clear about this. We fought where they thought we couldn't fight. Well, why do you guys think you can't fight somewhere? Of course we can fight anywhere, right? That's a district Trump won by 1.5 points. Why would anybody think you can't fight there? And you fought, what happened? You lost. So, okay, I get it, he's got to say something. Okay, much more importantly, let's go to the substance of what he said. We showed them we could fight with kindness and humility. How did that turn out for you? You fought with kindness and humility, and you lost a race you could have easily won. Because guess what, in politics, kindness and humility doesn't work. Donald Trump is president. When are you going to get it through your thick head? You don't support the other side. You attack the other side. And then when I say this, they look at me like, well, you're saying crazy things. Attack the other side, that's so radical. You are in a race with them. You are competing. You would like to win, you would like them to lose. You know what you do? Politically, you punch them in the face. Okay? You tell the voters why it would be a terrible idea to elect them. A terrible, disastrous idea. But instead, we fought with kindness and humility, and we showed how you could lose again and again and again and again for the millionth time in a row. We showed them what we're capable of. Yeah, you're capable of losing. We showed them that we shouldn't demonize the other side. So they demonized you and won. You didn't demonize and you lost. So tell me again what you showed them. You showed them that, he said, we showed them we could have common ground. Common ground with what? I don't want to have common ground with Karen Handel. I don't want to have common ground with Donald Trump. I thought you were all about resisting. What happened to resistance? When you ran the campaign, what happened to resistance? So what did Ossoff do? He did try to find common ground. Let me go back to the New York Times here. Ossoff's allies, for their part, paid for an advertising campaign deriding Ms. Handel, a former chairwoman of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, as a profligate spender while in office. Oh God. So what'd you do? You borrowed a Republican talking point. Oh, she overspends. She's in favor of big government. When are you going to make your case? When are you going to make a case to the voters why progressives are right? You know, I looked into it. You know who else ran that campaign against Karen Handel? All of her Republican opponents in the first round. So they took Republican ads and ran it as if it was Democratic ads. Attack her on your ground. The healthcare bill right now proposed by the Republicans has a massive unpopularity. I think it's popular to unpopular is about 50-point difference. Maybe you run on that. Wow, look at that. Hey, genius idea, right? I mean, I can go down the list of things that are, you run on protecting Social Security, she's gonna cut Social Security. Well, I don't know if Karen Handel's ever said that. Find a Republican who said it, you've got a dozen of them, and then say Karen Handel was with the son of a bitch looking to cut Social Security. Oh no, but Cenk, that wouldn't be finding common ground. Then how would I run as a Republican? I mean, Democrat. I mean, then my large donors would be upset. They want tax cuts, so let's go to that. Mr. Ossoff, for his part, sought to avoid being linked to Ms. Pelosi or labeled a liberal, oh God forbid, being labeled a liberal. He assured voters he would not raise taxes on the rich. Of course he did. He assured his voters, that he would not raise taxes on the rich. And in pledging to root out wasteful spending and seek compromise, he sounded more like an heir to former Senator Sam Nunn's brand of Southern centrism than a progressive millennial. Okay. You want to know how you do that, right? On the taxes issue, right? Now, I know that they're more wealthy in the suburbs of Atlanta where this district is. They always treat us like we're children. Oh, we're playing three-dimensional chess. You're playing checkers. You lost to Donald Trump. Don't tell me you're playing chess, okay? So you'd be lucky to be playing marbles. So, okay, yes, we know they don't want their taxes raised. But talk to them about, hey, you know what? You guys don't like big government. I don't like big government either. I'll tell you the big government I don't like. Big government that goes and starts all those wars in the Middle East, gets our kids killed, misspends trillions of our dollars. Was Karen Handel in favor of the Iraq war? I don't know, find out, right? And find out how many Republicans voted for the Iraq war and go, damn it, they wasted trillions of your money. You want them to waste trillions again? Vote for Karen Handel, you get more war, more money wasted. You want that? Oh no, but Jake, that would be uncivil. That would be uncivil. No, instead, let's do a campaign where we say that we will cut taxes on the rich. People in red districts are no further attached to your corporate buddies than people in blue districts. You run as a populist, you run strong. But if you continue to run weak and call it centrism, then you're gonna continue to lose. And if you were an actual centrist, what you would do is you would actually do something based in facts. And look, I get angry, so it's easy to say, oh, he's emotional. No, look at the facts, look at the facts. The facts are the Democratic establishment are losers. That sounds harsh, but it's a fact. You want me to go over it again? Trump, House, Senate, Supreme Court, 69 out of 99 state legislature. Facts on what's actually centrist and not centrist. Look at the polling. On every issue, the country is significantly, if not massively, center left. I know if you're on TV, you're in New York or Washington, your head just exploded. Oh, no way, the country's center right, the country's center right. That's your talking point. Where? Show me a poll. Social Security, taxes, yes, defense, yes, immigration reform, yes, on every single issue. Gay rights, marijuana legalization, every single issue. The country is center left. So if you want to be a centrist, you don't run right, you run left. But yet again, the moronic loser Democratic establishment found a way to lose an election they had no business losing. And then just at the end there, Trump rubs it in. He sends a bunch of tweets, I'll just quote two of them for you. Thank you, Fox News, he tweets. Quote, huge win for President Trump and GOP in Georgia congressional special election. Congratulations, Democratic Party. You just let Donald Trump brag about a huge win for Donald Trump. Yet again, progressives didn't run the race against Donald Trump. You did. You did. You gave us this monster. Own it. And then Trump says Democrats would do much better as a party if they got together with Republicans on healthcare, tax cuts, security obstruction doesn't work. Well, they just got together on tax cuts. How'd that turn out? It turned out in another loser Democrat. So if you wanted Ossoff to win and you don't like hearing the ugly truth, it's not gonna change it, man. The seat is in Republican hands because the Democrats have lost another incredibly winnable seat. If he had run as a strong progressive, either as a just Democrat or not, but just as a strong populist progressive, he would have won, Quist would have won. We would have at least 2 more seats, let alone what could have happened in South Carolina or Kansas. But they're gonna continue to run centrist, meaning donor-friendly campaigns. If Ossoff had said, I'm not taking any big donors, he got so much money from small donors, he didn't need the big donors. And he ran against corruption, both in the Republican and Democratic Party. He'd be a US congressman today. That I will guarantee you. Now we'll never find out because as with so many Democrats, he took the advice of the Democratic consultants that came in and said, oh, sure. Let's run another soft campaign and let's let the Republicans win again. If you want to keep going in that direction, the Democratic Party's perfect and their losing ways are perfect for you, okay? I want to go in a different direction. I want to actually win races. I know, in Washington, Democrats fighting aggressively to win races is an unacceptable idea. I think it is perfectly acceptable, and I think we can win and we will win, and it starts in primaries in 2018. And Democratic Party, go ahead and cry if you want. But we're within the Democratic Party, we're the Justice Democrats. And we're gonna come for you, and it's not to be Democrats, it's so that we can actually win some goddamn seats against Republicans. Because you obviously have no earthly idea what you're doing. So step aside, Butch. And if we gotta go through you to get to the Republicans, we will, because we obviously can't leave this to you. You're never gonna turn around and you're never gonna figure out how to beat Republicans. So we're done with you. Go to justicedemocrats.com right now, sign up and show them what we're made of. Strong progressives. We're gonna run those campaigns and unlike the Democratic Party, we're gonna win. You don't like ads? I hear you, brother. You know how you can avoid ads for the Young Turks? Become a Young Turks member and get all the content ad-free. tytnetwork.com/join.